In just 21 seconds, one of Britain's most beloved actors completely destroyed a morning television host on live TV. What started as friendly banter turned into a fiery explosion when Sir Ian McKellen called out Lorraine Kelly for what he described as fake behavior, leading to shouting, accusations, and the legendary actor being ordered off the set in front of millions of viewers. Before we dive into this absolute train wreck, make sure you subscribe to this channel for daily videos exposing Britain's darkest scandals. Hit that notification bell because you won't want to miss what we uncover next. Last night's episode of Lorraine was supposed to be a celebration. Sir Ian McKellen, the acting legend who has graced stages and screens for over 6 decades, was there to talk about his latest theatre production in London's West End. The morning show audience was packed with fans hoping to hear stories from Gandalf himself. But within minutes of sitting down on that bright orange sofa, something went terribly wrong. Lorraine Kelly greeted McKellen with her signature enthusiasm, that big smile plastered across her face as she welcomed him to the show. She leaned forward, hands clasped together, gushing about how wonderful it was to have him there. McKellen smiled politely, thanking her for the invitation. He settled into the sofa, crossing his legs, looking every bit the distinguished gentleman in his navy blue suit. "Now, Ian, you look absolutely fabulous," Lorraine said, her voice dripping with sweetness. "I mean, 86 years old, and still commanding the stage every single night. How do you do it?" McKellen chuckled softly. "Well, Lorraine, I suppose I just love what I do. The theater has been my life, and I can't imagine doing anything else." "That's just gorgeous. That is," Lorraine replied, tilting her head. "Really gorgeous. And this new production, tell us all about it. Our viewers are dying to know." McKellen began explaining the play, a fresh take on Shakespeare's King Lear, where he was playing the aging monarch. He spoke passionately about the themes of power, family, and betrayal. His eyes lit up as he described working with the younger cast members, how they brought new energy to the classic text. But Lorraine wasn't really listening. She was nodding, smiling, throwing in little sounds, but her eyes kept darting to the camera, checking her own reflection in the monitor. McKellen noticed. His voice trailed off mid-sentence as he watched her adjust her hair while he was speaking. "Am I boring you?" McKellen asked, his tone still light but with a slight edge. Lorraine's head snapped back to attention. "What? No. God, no. You're fascinating, Ian. Really, really fascinating. Please, go on." McKellen paused, studying her face. "It's just that you seem distracted." "Not at all," Lorraine insisted, that smile growing even wider. "I'm hanging on every word. Every single word." There was something about the way she said it, too enthusiastic, too forced. McKellen's eyebrow raised slightly. He continued talking about the play, but now he was watching her more carefully. Every time he made a point, she would gasp dramatically or touch his arm, her reactions seeming more performative than genuine. "You know what I love about you, Ian?" Lorraine interrupted, leaning in close. "You're just so real, so authentic. Not like these young actors today who are all about the Instagram and the TikTok. You're proper talent, you are." McKellen smiled thinly. "Thank you." "No, I mean it," Lorraine continued, her hand still on his arm. "You're a national treasure, an absolute national treasure. We're so lucky to have you." "That's very kind," McKellen said, gently pulling his arm away. Lorraine didn't seem to notice. She launched into a story about how she'd seen McKellen perform Macbeth years ago, how it had moved her to tears, how she'd never forgotten it. She went on and on, her voice getting louder, her gestures bigger. McKellen sat quietly, waiting for her to finish. When she finally paused for breath, McKellen spoke calmly. "Lorraine, I've never performed Macbeth." The studio went silent. Lorraine blinked. "What?" "I've never played Macbeth," McKellen repeated. "Not once in my entire career." Lorraine's smile faltered for just a second before snapping back into place. "Oh, well, maybe it was Hamlet then." "Yes, that's what it was. Hamlet. I haven't played Hamlet either," McKellen said quietly. The color drained from Lorraine's face. She let out a nervous laugh, touching her chest. "Oh my goodness, I'm getting my plays mixed up. It's been such a long week. You know how it is. But the point is, you're brilliant. Just brilliant." McKellen didn't laugh. He just looked at her, his expression unreadable. The audience shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The camera operators exchanged glances. "Shall we talk about the actual play I'm in?" McKellen suggested. "Yes, yes, of course," Lorraine said, shuffling her notes. "King Lear. Right. So, what's it like playing such a demanding role at your age? I mean, not that you're old or anything. You're not old at all. You're very young. Young at heart, I mean." McKellen's jaw tightened. "What exactly are you asking me? Just, is it hard? Physically demanding?" Lorraine pressed on. "Do you get tired?" "Do I get tired?" McKellen repeated slowly. "Well, yeah, I mean, 8 shows a week. All those long speeches running around the stage," Lorraine said, still smiling. "It must be exhausting for someone your age." The temperature in the studio seemed to drop. McKellen sat up straighter. "For someone my age. I didn't mean it like that." Lorraine backtracked quickly. "I just meant, it's impressive. Really impressive. That's all I meant." "Is it impressive because I'm old?" McKellen asked, his voice sharp now. "Would it be impressive if I were 40? Or 50? Or are you impressed simply because I haven't died yet?" Lorraine laughed nervously, looking at the cameras for help. "Ian, come on now. Don't be silly. You know what I meant." "I'm not entirely sure I do," McKellen said. "Look, I think you're taking this the wrong way," Lorraine said, her smile straining. "I'm trying to compliment you here. I'm saying you're amazing for your age. That's a good thing. Why does my age matter?" McKellen shot back. "I'm an actor. I act, that's what I do. My age is irrelevant." Lorraine's smile finally cracked. "Well, it's not irrelevant though, is it? I mean, you're not exactly a spring chicken anymore." The audience gasped. McKellen's eyes went wide. "Excuse me?" he said, his voice dangerously quiet. Lorraine realized her mistake immediately. "I didn't mean. That came out wrong. You just what?" McKellen demanded. "You just thought you'd invite me on your show to patronize me? To make jokes about my age?" "I'm not making jokes," Lorraine protested. "I'm being honest. That's what I do on this show. I'm honest and real with people." McKellen let out a sharp laugh. "Honest? Real? You don't even know what plays I've been in. You made up a story about seeing me perform something I've never performed. How is that honest?" "That was just a mistake," Lorraine said, her voice rising. "People make mistakes, Ian." "It wasn't a mistake," McKellen said firmly. "It was lazy. You didn't prepare for this interview. You don't actually care about my work. You just wanted a famous name on your sofa so you could perform your little show." "That's not true," Lorraine snapped, her Scottish accent growing thicker with anger. "I care very much about my guests." "Do you?" McKellen challenged. "Because from where I'm sitting, you seem more interested in looking at yourself in that monitor than actually having a conversation with me." Lorraine's face flushed red. "How dare you? I've been nothing but lovely to you since you sat down." "Lovely?" McKellen scoffed. "Is that what you call it? Talking over me, touching me without permission, making up stories, and constantly reminding me that I'm old. That's your version of lovely?" "I never said you were old," Lorraine shouted. "You've said nothing but," McKellen shouted back, his voice filling the studio. "Every single question has been about my age. Do I get tired? Is it hard at my age? Am I impressive for someone so old? It's insulting." The audience was completely silent now, everyone frozen in shock. The producers in the control room were frantically trying to decide whether to cut to commercial. Lorraine stood up from her seat, pointing her finger at McKellen. "You know what your problem is? You can't take a compliment. I'm trying to be nice to you, and you're twisting everything I say." McKellen stood up too, towering over her. "Nice? You call this nice? You've been condescending from the moment I walked out here." "Condescending?" Lorraine shrieked. "I've done nothing but praise you." "Praise?" McKellen's voice was like ice. "You lied about seeing my work. You treated me like I'm 1 foot in the grave. You made this entire interview about my age instead of my craft. That's not praise, Lorraine. That's ageism." "Oh, here we go." Lorraine threw her hands up. "Playing the victim card. Classic. Victim?" McKellen's eyes flashed with anger. "I'm not playing anything. I'm calling out your behavior. There's a difference." "My behavior?" Lorraine laughed bitterly. "What about your behavior? Coming on my show and attacking me?" "Attacking you?" McKellen looked incredulous. "I answered your questions. I tried to have a genuine conversation. You're the one who turned this into a circus. A circus? Lorraine's voice went up another octave. This is my show. My show that I've built over years. And you come on here with your high and mighty attitude, acting like you're too good for morning television. I never said that, McKellen said, his voice dropping to a dangerous calm. But you know what? Maybe I am too good for this. For fake smiles and fake interest and fake everything. Fake? Lorraine stepped closer to him, her face twisted with rage. You want to talk about fake? You're an actor. Your entire job is being fake. McKellen's expression hardened. Acting is about truth, finding truth in fiction. But you wouldn't know anything about that, would you? Because there's nothing true about you. The words hung in the air like a bomb. Lorraine's mouth opened and closed, no sound coming out. McKellen continued, his voice steady and cutting. You pretend to be warm. You pretend to be interested. You pretend to care. But it's all an act, and not even a good one. At least when I'm on stage, the audience knows they're watching a performance. Your viewers think you're genuine. That's the real deception. Get off my show, Lorraine said quietly. What? McKellen asked. I said get off my show, Lorraine screamed, her face purple now. Get off my set. Get out. McKellen stared at her for a long moment. Gladly. You can't talk to me like that, Lorraine continued shouting. Who the hell do you think you are? I'm someone who knows the difference between authenticity and performance, McKellen said, straightening his jacket. Something you clearly struggle with. Security, Lorraine called out, looking wildly around the studio. Get him out of here. I'm leaving, McKellen said, holding up his hand. Don't worry. I wouldn't want to stay in this toxic environment for another second. Toxic? Lorraine shrieked. You're calling me toxic. You're the one who came on here looking for a fight. I came on here to talk about my work, McKellen said, his voice cutting through her hysteria. You're the one who made it personal. You're the one who couldn't do your job properly. My job? Lorraine's hands were shaking with rage. I've been doing this job for decades. And I've never had someone treat me with such disrespect. Maybe you should ask yourself why, McKellen said coldly. Maybe you should wonder if other guests have felt this way, but were too polite to say anything. Too afraid to call you out on your bullshit. The curse word echoed through the studio. Several audience members put their hands over their mouths in shock. How dare you use that language on my show, Lorraine spat. This is a family program. Then maybe you should act like a professional, instead of a screaming child, McKellen replied. That was the final straw. Lorraine grabbed her coffee mug from the table and threw it, not at McKellen, but onto the floor beside the sofa, where it shattered into pieces. The crash made everyone jump. Get out! Lorraine screamed again, tears of rage streaming down her face. Get the fuck out of my studio. McKellen didn't flinch. He simply nodded, a sad smile on his face. You know, Lorraine, this could have been a lovely conversation. I came here in good faith. I wanted to share my passion for theater with your viewers, but you couldn't get out of your own way. You couldn't be real for 5 minutes. I'm done listening to you, Lorraine said, turning her back on him. Someone get him out, now. 2 stage managers appeared from the wings, looking terrified. They approached McKellen cautiously. It's all right, McKellen said to them gently. I'm going. He walked toward the wings, his head held high. But then he stopped and turned back to face Lorraine, who was still standing with her back to him, shoulders heaving. You know what the saddest part is? McKellen said, his voice carrying across the silent studio. You have this platform, this opportunity to connect with people every single day. And you waste it on this performance, this character you play, the cheery Scottish woman who loves everyone and everything. But she's not real. And somewhere underneath all of that, there's probably a real person, someone interesting, someone with actual thoughts and feelings. But you're so committed to the act that you've forgotten who that person is. Lorraine spun around, her mascara running down her face. You don't know anything about me. You're right, McKellen agreed. I don't. And whose fault is that? I've been sitting here for 15 minutes, and I still don't know who you are, because you never let anyone see. Get out, Lorraine whispered, her voice breaking. McKellen nodded one final time. Goodbye, Lorraine. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. He walked off the stage, his footsteps echoing in the shocked silence. The cameras stayed on Lorraine, who stood there frozen, coffee dripping down the front of her yellow dress from the shattered mug, her carefully constructed smile nowhere to be seen. The stage managers rushed to her side, but she pushed them away. She looked directly into the main camera, her eyes red and wild. "We'll be right back," she managed to say, her voice cracking. Right back after these messages, but before they could cut to commercial, her microphone picked up her muttering, "Fucking bastard. Absolute fucking bastard." The viewers at home sat in stunned disbelief. In just under an hour, they had witnessed one of the most brutal confrontations in morning television history. Sir Ian McKellen, the legendary actor known for his grace and eloquence, had systematically dismantled Lorraine Kelly's carefully crafted persona, exposing what he saw as the hollow performance beneath. The audience in the studio didn't know where to look. Some were crying, some were angry, some were trying to figure out if what they'd just witnessed was real or scripted. But the broken coffee mug on the floor, the mascara tears on Lorraine's face, and the empty chair where McKellen had been sitting told them everything they needed to know. This was real. This was ugly. And this was going to be talked about for a very long time. As the show finally cut to commercial, the last image was of Lorraine Kelly, the queen of morning television, collapsing back onto her orange sofa, her head in her hands, her carefully constructed world shattered just like that coffee mug at her feet. Sir Ian McKellen had walked off the set and out of the studio, leaving behind nothing but wreckage and uncomfortable truths. The host who made her living by making others comfortable had been made deeply uncomfortable herself, and she had no one to blame but herself for how she'd handled the situation from the very first moment. The show that was supposed to be a pleasant morning chat about theater had turned into an exposé on authenticity, ageism, and the price of living behind a mask. McKellen had held up a mirror to Lorraine Kelly, and she hadn't liked what she'd seen reflected back. The interview that should have lasted 20 minutes was over in less than 15, ending not with applause and handshakes, but with shouting, crying, broken pottery, and the sound of an actor's footsteps walking away from a host who had lost control of her own show.